Good morning, Mr. Barfield Antonio. Who am I speaking to?
You speaking to Mr. Barfield today. Hey, man, we were talking about trying to do a morning show. We tried to do a morning show for nighttime. It just didn't have the right vibe. Because you could be, well, first off, I think we'd been drinking bourbon or something. And I don't know. I mean, usually I don't have bourbon for breakfast. I have.
Oh, but, I have too. That's some chewy shit right there, baby. That's better than oatmeal.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you, people don't understand. Like, if you work graveyard, and I worked graveyard back when I was going to college, and I didn't do much after that, conceitedly. But now I have stayed up a few nights overnight working. You get off work working all night, you crack you open a cold Corona. Shit, you can't get much better than that. 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 a.m. Then just keep on pumping them down, baby.
Yeah, I apologize. I was on my earbuds whenever you actually first answered, but yeah, you're right. So where are you heading this morning, bro?
Well, I think to North Arkansas. I'm in South Arkansas. I'm headed out up there to see Bad Boy Mowers. And just then, speaking of beer, and Corona, because Corona has a little bit of a skunky smell to it. I just went by a skunk out near the end of your road down there, actually. You can believe that. But yeah, I'm headed north.
A skunk at the end of my road? Really?
Yes.
In rural South Arkansas?
It's amazing, isn't it? Amazing. Hey, let me tell you this. I was driving through the middle of downtown Crossing just a little bit ago, okay? And I saw 2 or 3 things. One thing I saw was I was parked at the red light there in front of the paper mill, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden this weird-ass creature came out in the road in front of me. Of course, I'm half asleep, but I'm wired up on coffee at the same time, so I'm sitting there.
Well, it's very early this time of the morning, so I understand that.
This is 30 minutes ago. First get in the car, it's dark, light shining everywhere, and we'll come back to that. But I saw this creature going across the road, and at first in my mind I said, is that a monkey? Because I'm like, what the? Because it had a monkey shape, bigger head, body. Of course, it was all walking on 4. But monkeys do that too. And I was sitting there thinking, what in the hell? And then I thought, I don't know why I wanted to see a monkey. But then all of a sudden I saw a possum, and I said, no, that's not a possum either. His head's not long enough. It was a cat. And I was like, my God. My mind went through all kinds of. For a brief second, I swear to God, there was a monkey walking across the street in the middle of downtown Crossing, Arkansas.
Well, that's understandable at this time of the morning with the light, where you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't have time for coffee or any of the other things we normally use, because you're heading way north and you had to wake up early. I get that.
I got you. It's not the same thing, Of course, in the end, we talked about the lights. Let me talk about that for just a second. Me and my dog were out taking a morning walk. Oh, I did get up early. I got up at 4 a.m. today instead of 5. But anyway, so I was, me and him were out there walking around. He just started going crazy. And I'm talking about way before we ever saw what he was going crazy about. He was going crazy about because he knew when it turned on the road before I could even. He could hear. He can't see. Okay, so he heard this waste disposal truck coming down the road. So he had already heard this sound, but now he's heard it before with he and I out there walking on Fridays, and then this thing got close, and I just kind of reduced myself down to a dog, kind of, as much as I could, because what I know about what they see and hear, and I was like, holy shit, this dog, they go crazy every time these waste disposal trucks come by, and if you really look at what those trucks are, they have like 8 or 10 different colored lights, flashing, lights going everywhere. It makes lots of sounds.
Yeah, believe me, I'm not surprised when my dogs freak out. They come by.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Every dog does. the whole neighborhood. I'm like, God. I mean, if they're outside, of course, if they're inside, they can still hear it. They can still hear those noises that things make. But man, I took some pictures, and maybe I'll try my best to put them in this video. But just seeing
Yeah,
that light
believe me,
flashing
I saw those flashing lights and stuff. Hey, if I was a dog, I would be freaking out too, because the ones I saw, dude, at 5 o'clock in the morning, what the hell are those flashing lights? It looks like a UFO. I mean, but now, hey, I mean, if you just look at the dang sky, I mean, the supermoon is up. I love the view of the sky. So just looking at it from maybe trying to step into a dog's position, I understand that. That's weird and crazy.
Well, yeah, and just think about it. Like, here my mind went, I was sitting there, Mr. Sociology, Archaeology, anthropologist, sitting there thinking about, what you just think about this. It's not, I love movies, like, say, Back to the Future or whatever, where you go into different time periods, and you go there and you encounter something totally different. And you don't really know what to expect, because the things are so different. The way they use the bathroom, or the way they cut their hair, or they dress, or they smell, or everything is so much different. And so it's I always imagine myself as a more primitive creature that's not, I mean, less worldly. And more worldly, I mean our own world. And anything different than what I'm used to seeing in my little bubble is weird. Specifically, whenever you're talking about that. But just imagine, going back 10,000 year brain. I don't even know, because I don't know where dogs at are on a continuum, but they don't have the comprehension that we do. I mean, they're love, they understand emotion, they're about all that kind of stuff. But comprehending flashing lights driving down the road at 5 a.m. on a Friday, I just don't know if they get.
I don't think they necessarily get it. Which is why they're Hey, your Lucy, she is so dedicated to you. She would absolutely rip a throat out of anybody that mess with you. I mean, but that's just the way some of these dogs are animals. I mean, it's like my poor cat. My God, that is a needy cat. He adopted me. I didn't adopt him. Went to a car wash, and he climbed in my damn truck and showed up at my house with me. And he wakes me up about 4 a.m., scratching at my door, meow, meow. Even my Mrs. D that is a needy damn cat.
He loves him, Daddy.
He loves his daddy. I clipped his nuts, but he loves his daddy.
I do remember you talking about that car wash. Where were you at? Now tell us a little bit more about this car wash.
It was just, I was heading home one night, and I stopped in North Crossett, which is in South Arkansas, and I just pulled up, and I was messaging somebody, and this little cat, just tiny kitten, just run up there and jumped on me, and I petted him a little bit, and I said, you're somebody's, whatever, da-da-da. And I kind of set him back out, and I was messaging, and I closed my door, and I left. When I got home, that cat had snuck into my truck and was curled up in my back seat. And so that's why I'm saying, he adopted me. He picked me versus me picking him, and he's been here ever since.
It's so weird you mention that, because we have a cat too, and I'm gonna tell y'all the story of this cat. It's almost the same story, except for we were in Bryant, Arkansas, which is like west of Little Rock on I-30 out there. It's at the beginning of the Saline River. Anyway, so we were there, and a cat from a neighborhood we were at visiting, a kitten. I'm talking about a little bitty kitten, had crawled up under my wife's SUV, and we got in it, and we drove that son of a bitch all the way home. And the neighbors we found out the neighbors had a missing kitty, which they gladly gave to it, but that cat had ridden all the way, it's probably 150 miles, up under her car with me driving 86 miles per hour down a four-way, you know. And I'm sitting there, and we get home.
Oh, yeah. I understand. You drive
Think
crazy.
about that shit. Well, I mean, I'm used, I use, you know, just, but it was on a four-way in Little Rock. You know, if you're not doing 85, you're not keeping up with the traffic. So anyway, we're driving. We get there at the house, and we all get out. We're unloading our stuff, and we hear meow. Like, what the fuck is that? Because we didn't have no cats at the time. We had dogs. We had 3 dogs, pissing everywhere, flopping hair, you know, jumping on you and loving you and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, I understand wolf dogs.
Yeah, and no cats. And all of a sudden we had a cat. And this thing, it just like you said, it adopted us, it chose us. And then a week later, the whole fam was out driving down the road, and they see a little black kitty cat on the side of the road. So now we got a gray one and a black one. And I love both of them. They're a male and a female. And those are different kind of animals. Those are not dogs. Those are not fucking dogs, okay? Dogs
No,
are not
cats are absolutely different than dogs. I mean, they're lovable. They'll come and they'll meow at you, and they'll want you to pet them, but it's just not the same as dogs. I mean, dogs are so loyal. Cats, they just don't give a shit. They'll just lay on that counter and go, motherfucker, if you ain't gonna feed me, I ain't paying you attention.
Yeah. I wonder. I think that cats are more primitive. I don't think that they share the emotional capacity that a dog does. In other words, they're not domesticated. They're domesticated, but they're not domesticated in a way that, like, say, a dog is. In my mind.
Oh no, truly, that truly is what it is in my mind. I mean, you know, they're predators, whereas, you know, dogs are they're predators, but they're not the ones that hunt. You know, they'll hunt if we ask or if they need to, but yeah, no, it's a totally different type situation. I mean, my cat loves me, and he will just whatever, but at the same time, he's like, bitch, I own you. Why aren't you feeding me?
Yeah.
I'm going to meow at you or whatever until you give me something.
You know, I don't know if you've ever seen a cat kill something, but I was living with an ex-wife a long time ago, and she had cats. Anyway, we had one in the house, and we lived out in the middle of nowhere for a little while there. She lived there with me for a short period of time, and this thing, that cat came with her, and it would get a mouse. You know, it's in the woods, so there's always going to be shit like that you have to deal with it. It would get that thing in the corner, and it would just punish it. You know, like it. You know, it was.
Well,
I know
cats
that's what
are
they do.
serial killers. I mean, truly, cats are serial killers. They like to play with their prey.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they'll.
Well,
they're almost like Dexter. I mean, cats are predators, and they love to play with it and tease, and then at the same time, like, meow, meow.
Okay, but now they say that like with a mouse, they get it scared and the meat tastes better or something, some kind of a hormone it releases. But I don't give a shit. It's still evil. I mean, the way that it does, instead of just killing it and eating it, it fucks with it in a corner for hours and it carries it around. I mean, I saw some evil shit. I'm telling you, I said, and why I didn't stop it is because I'm evil too. You know, I'm a predator. Me and you both are. All of us are top level predators.
Oh yeah.
We pay people to kill for us. But now, the reality of it is that if we get hungry, we do the same thing. But I don't know that I would do it like that. You know, we kill some shit, we hang it up, skin it out, and clean it. But this son of a bitch did not do that. It was a different process than what humans do and what dogs do.
Yeah, it's a case of, that's one of the things with cats is they are evil, which is why, you know, hey, they've been worshipped. They're always the guardians of the dead. If you go back to Egyptian times, you know, they are the symbol of death because they do exactly that. They'll catch something and they'll play and they'll bite and they'll torture. But that's what I'm saying is, you know, they're serial killers. They just thrive on that. But that's the thing. Well, at least it ain't me. I mean, it's a mouse.
But hey, But just think about
But
this though. One time
it's not right with what we consider civilization, but they're not civilized. I mean, we say
okay,
that
but look
they're
here.
domesticated. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just going to say, just moving along here, man. I saw a video of a jaguar down there in South America, and it grabbed up one of those little caimans, little crocodile shit, in its mouth, which the thing weighed like 60 pounds, and it carried it up the bank and ate it. Okay, so now that tells me that that long ago there were some big ass cats out there, and human beings were not that big. So I mean, there have been human beings that have been treated the same way by a cat, have been eaten by a cat anyway. But I don't know. I don't know that big cats. I've seen this big controversial thing where people were trying to say. I mean, there's from a science perspective. I think it was. I think there's some characteristics, like say a lion. A lion is not a typical kind of cat. But some people will tell you that they have, a lot more characteristics that are much more canine. So there may be some kind of a mixtures later higher up in the hierarchy. But here's my question, though. Can you imagine living at a time with saber-toothed tigers? These huge-ass 12-foot-long tigers that's like
and that's what
6 foot tall at the shoulders?
Yeah, well, and at some point, hey, they were the apex predator. That's why you end up with saber-toothed tigers. Cats are feared because they're sneaky. I mean, jaguars, cougars, mountain cats, they slink around. They just, every one of them, they're sneaky predators. But I mean, hey, they're their nature. They follow their nature. We follow ours. And it's just, hey, we've got these kind of domesticated ones, but they're not domesticated. That's where it goes back to, do you own them or do they own you? There's that big question, But hey, on the side note, have you noticed that beautiful moon we've had the last couple of days?
I have. I mean, I made a couple of little pictures and videos of it, stuff that I've, just of being there, because I don't think that moon there, the big blue moon that it is, and the time and place and its characteristics, I don't think it'll be back until 2037. But I'm going to tell you, Donald, where I'm at right now. Let's go back to the moon for just 1 second. But I'm watching the sunrise. It's about 6:15. They call it safe light where I'm at. I mean, the sun is rising, and I'm headed north, but I can see it. I can see that little peak going across the night sky out there in the distance.
Well,
the sun's rising on this Friday morning.
I see that. I mean, I see it just hinting. I mean, of course, you're a little further north, so maybe you see it a little better. Yeah. But, the sun's trying to rise, and, it's been a beautiful morning. It's nice and cool.
Oh, my God.
I mean, my thing was I was so amazed that actually 2 days ago I woke up in the mornings and found out that, it was cooler than you ever expected to, which is that first hint of summer is finally leaving. You're getting those cooler mornings, little warm days and stuff, and it's like 54 degrees out this morning. Jeez, it feels so nice compared to the heat we've been having.
Well, exactly. We've been having this intense humidity, and that humidity's broke. There's been some kind of a change in the atmosphere, probably all those hurricanes. It's got stuff shook up. And we were in a holding pattern, man. It was a huge depression on us, and it was so hot. I mean, it was 90 degrees at night. I mean, it would be 10 o'clock at 90 degrees. You wake up, it's 84, and the humidity was so high. Yeah, in the last few days, last couple of days, man, it's been so nice outside. But now we're out there, like you said, it's just the first hint. Now, it may not be over. It's only, August, maybe the 31st? Or is it the 1st of September?
Today is September 1st. I mean, it's the 1st of September today. But, I mean, you're absolutely right. This is just the hint of it. And, but because of all the record BS that we've been having, rainfall, burn bans, heat, humidity, this is still the first day, I guess, I actually feel that this is normal. It's cool in the morning. It warms up through the day. you do your stuff, and then it cools off at night. Everyday thing. Not that damn, holy crap, it's fucking hot. There's Jew lasers and fires. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, that's good. This is the way summer was, though. I mean, this is some shit that changed. I mean, this is a whole lot better. But let me say this, too. We are still under burn bans. We're still under fire watch because there's still, it's still going to be 90-something today. But it's not going to be that 100-something shit that it's had recently.
Well, and you're right. Come on. You're talking about, just a change in that kind of thing. The fires in Louisiana, that would never have happened down around Baton Rouge. Everybody knows Baton Rouge is a flat, wet land, but they've had record fires. That point blank tells you it ain't as cool or moist as it used to be.
No, it is not as cool. Well, and it's just extreme. Sometimes the first of this year, it rained so much for 2 or 3 months that our whole sewage system, which flowing just fine most of the time, but it was literally flooded. Everything was so wet. And then now it's so dry that you drive down my driveway and there's dust everywhere. Of course, we have a 4-wheeler running up and down it, but the point of it is that it's so much. It's just like they said, it's extreme. It's not that it's like, yeah, the averages do go up, but it's going up in extreme ways. It's not just easing up. It's just crazy shit going on. It's like extreme drought happens, like local areas. And
it's not gentle changes. We're seeing extreme changes from year to year.
Yes, and it's just. I remember back in the 80s. And we're in El Nino now. We've been in La Nina for 3 years, 36 months or so. And now we're in El Nino, so it's different. It's not as wet for us. It's always drier. People say it. They say it was wet, but down in the south. But for some reason, we're in some little spot where every time they say El Nino, I know it's going to be dry and warm. So I don't really mind it as much. But later on, if it stays in El Nino and through the winter. But now I remember last time it was El Nino, I think it was like 15, 16, something like that. It was so warm, like Christmas was like 85 degrees. We went outside.
Oh, yeah.
And got like,
yeah. The winter months were mild spring months. November and October, I remember when we were kids, you would have to put on caps and stuff to go Halloween treating. Because it was cold in October. And now it's like you can run around with fans. So, it flip-flops.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I do remember by the time we went back to school, by the end of August, by the September, it started getting cool. But now it's not like that. It's warm up to deer season, up to middle of November. It is still in the 80s around here. It has some cool mornings.
Yeah, you got to worry about damn flies, ticks, and mosquitoes going deer hunting in November. Where when we were kids, remember, in November, you better put on a damn jacket.
Jacket? We wore coveralls. Because it was cold as shit, and a jacket, and a hat. This was in November. And this is so different down here now, man. It's like, I'm telling you, it is, I don't know, they talk about it's average temperature, but they usually look at that from like a global perspective. They don't look at it locally as much. But I bet you that those local temperatures, it may not be changing in some places, but I bet you that like with us, near these rivers, like we're actually between 2 rivers in this area. 2 big rivers.
That makes a big difference in our atmosphere we have around here. You got the Washita, the Saline. Yeah, they make a big difference. Their levels really.
And then you got the Mississippi River less than 50 miles over there. So you got us right there in the triangle, and it just both of them on both sides of us there. And we're in like a little small area through there between those 2 huge rivers. And of course, there's been people living here for thousands of years. I don't know. I was going to throw this at you. I'm about to be in a weird zone here, but I saw this video the other day about they've been finding more and more and more older and older and older human settlements in America.
Yeah, I saw some of that here recently about how in along the Mississippi and down in Louisiana, those mounds. You and I have discussed those mounds down there, and I'm not a huge archaeological guy, but they found things that are proven they're 10,000 years old, or however,
27,000.
older than anyone that's been in this land mass. I mean, you know.
Well, they used to say it was 13,500 was the oldest here, but no, they've got 27,000 and 33,000 in North America, not in South America. They've had 20,000-year-olds, 27,000, 30,000 down there, but now in the continental United States, up in the northern part, actually, up around, I think it was somewhere up around New York area. There's a settlement up there, and hell, it could be Europeans, who knows? But it's
I hadn't seen the one up north. I've been paying more attention to the ones in Louisiana, the new ones they found, you know, down the Delta area along the Mississippi, because, hey, the Mississippi's always been super important to this continent. And so everybody would congregate around it. Right. You know, I mean, that only makes sense. But, yeah, they've found some really new stuff down there.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I mean, there's such a rich history there for thousands of years. People thought, no, we were the first ones here. No, I hate to tell you, Bubba, but you weren't the first one here, you know. But anyway, I'm up here in Monticello. I'm about to jump into another ride, brother. I appreciate you spending time with me this morning.
Well, hey, I appreciate you spending time with me, man. I just needed somebody to talk to, and I loved our conversation. You have a good day. Be careful now. I know where you're heading and all that. So, you know, give me a call back later. We need to talk about our Buddy Bass we got coming up.
Yes, sir. We'll get it. Talk to you soon,
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.